it has many benefits, but the benefits are usually similar to, you could compare it to exercise. So if we just all exercise together and then I asked, how did you feel after we exercised? How did you feel? How did you feel? How did you feel? It wouldn't really be like, it wouldn't really give us the full picture of the benefits that we'd experienced, and it would be a lot of emotional reactions. It would be our bodies adjusting to it, but it definitely wouldn't tell us truly what had just happened physiologically, what has started inside us, So meditation is a practice that works like that. It's cumulative over time, and it helps with so many things. But one of the main things that it helps with is I would say everything, but your mental health, and then that plays into your physical health, So today I want to talk about Vipassana meditation. Vipassana meditation is a meditation style that they practice all throughout Southeast Asia, and it is associated with Theravada Buddhism, but it can be practiced in a secular way as well. And it's usually called insight meditation, where we practice it outside of the religious context. But it's still a spiritual practice. And because we're studying Thai massage, it's important to know that Thai massage is also a spiritual practice. It is intrinsically tied to the culture, the spirituality, the healthcare practices of Thailand, and then largely of Southeast Asia. So we do know that Buddhism came from what we broadly call India, right? So they say that Siddhartha Gautama was born in Lumbini, Nepal. And all that knowledge, so that's not particularly, when we go to India, that's not a Buddhist country, that's Hindu, Hinduism. And that knowledge of Buddhism, the spiritual practices, also the medical practices, the psychological practices, all of that information traveled from that region up into summer. And it became infused in the medicine that we're learning now, which is Thai massage. So when I take students to Thailand, we will usually do a meditation retreat at one of the Wats. And the style that they teach is Vipassana meditation. It means to see things the way that they are. So to be able to start to, instead of being a product of our cravings, our revulsions, our preferences, all of our reactions, that we're able to start to just sit and observe the nature of reality. We're able to just sit in the present moment instead of being focused on the past or worried about the future and being in a state of reacting to that. And so it's a very helpful type of meditation. And then most of my teachers in Thailand that are Thai massage practitioners, they utilize all of this spiritual tradition and all this knowledge and the threads that go into the cultural way of believing and being, and they utilize that in their Thai massage. So today I'm going to talk about how Vipassana meditation can serve as a model for Thai massage and how you can use this to make your Thai massage more of a meditation as well, which makes it a more powerful type of medicine to be using. So I'm going to start with one of my experiences with, it was my first Vipassana meditation retreat. And I've studied Vipassana now all over the world because it's now a pretty well-known style of meditation that has extended outside of Southeast Asia. And there's a man named S.N. Goenka, and he started offering Vipassana meditation, and he has his own style of doing it, and he offers it donation-based all throughout the world. So this is a great resource for any of you that want to practice Vipassana but aren't leaving the country. Those are all donation-based, and it's Dhamma, like DHAMMA.org that you can go to. And those can be a great resource. They offer 10-day silence and meditation retreats. So that's not where I've done the bulk of my study, though. Most of it has been throughout Southeast Asia and Nepal, and really studying in the Watts with the monks. But I always want to mention Goenka because it's such a great resource for everyone here. If you're not going to Southeast Asia, for example, you can do it right here. And then it's so beautiful. It's donation-based, making it something that is accessible to everyone. So I'll talk about, the first time that I went to a 10-day silence and meditation retreat that was Vipassana-based, I was in a lot of pain. And I had pain I had some stuff that had happened in my life, some very difficult things. And I had pain that was radiating down my neck and it was into my arm. And I was a massage therapist and I'd been working on all these women. So I don't know if it was random, because random can look like a pattern, or if I was supposed to, somehow see these things before. But I was working on all these women. These clients just kept coming to me that had fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome and things like that. And they had a lot of pain. And then they also seemed to have a lot of emotional pain as well. And many of them had expressed that the doctors, the physicians that they had gone to, that they had treated them like they were crazy, And then sometimes some of the women that were coming to see me, the way that they were so emotional, like, I'm so, I even had to check myself and not think they were crazy, right? Like there was one, and I was very young. I was really in my 20s. And so there was one woman that came to me, and she was frequently in this just panic state of just you could see it too. You could see that she probably felt like her body was constantly being electrocuted. Just have you guys ever felt that much pain? It's intense. And oftentimes other people don't know how to help someone that is in that much pain and that much of an emotional state. And truly, it probably, when we see that, triggers within us some of our own pain that's very difficult to look at. And so there's a tendency to want to push that away, sometimes even among very skilled medical providers, that's just a lot for them to have to meet and face, and to they just don't know where to start with that, right? So anyway, I at one point did tell this lady that was coming to me, when you go see your doctor, you please don't show that much emotion, because you are going to be treated like you're crazy if you do that. This is me as a 20-year-old giving this advice, right? So anyway, but I'm please don't, just don't do that, because I want you to be able to get help. But if you come to this person in the state, even now I can see it's going to be very difficult for them to take you seriously, even though I can see this is truly pain that you're feeling, But I hadn't felt that level of pain myself, And so I was working on these people, and they were getting results, and it was helping them. And I noticed early on as a massage therapist that I would go into a state of meditation when I was doing massage. So you're very focused, and it's repetitive, and you're very relaxed, and you're in an intuitive state, just kind of channeling everything that you've learned. And have you guys all felt that? How wonderful the state is? It's beautiful, right? And then you get in sync with the person that you're working on, and you can feel that cultivation of energy and the movement of energy, and that connection and presence together. Okay. So it's such a beautiful feeling. So I was feeling all of that, but I didn't really understand where this was coming from. And so then I developed my own pain. And after going through some difficult things, and oftentimes you'll find in life that we will develop pain along with difficult emotional things that we encounter. And it makes so much sense, because for every emotional response we have an accompanying physiological response that happens in the body. And you can feel the remnants of that even right now. If you check in with yourself right now and just notice, you will notice that your body's gotten very good at wiring the places in your body where you're holding tension with the emotional reactions that you have had cumulatively over time. Can you guys feel it? Yeah. So I still am working on that in my body. I've had so much relief but this Vipassana meditation was the first time that I really got to feel that connection. Okay, so I've got pain, it's radiating down my arm, and I'm a massage therapist. I've got a curious mind like you, and I am trying to fix it myself. And I also, because of these clients of mine that have told me about their experiences, patients, I definitely did not want to go to a doctor because I was very afraid I'd be treated like I was crazy now that I was feeling so much pain, so much pain. And it was so intense. And I felt like the only way I could get any relief at all was because it was going down my arm. And of course, this was referred pain. And we all understand like what was happening through here and here. But even more than that, it was locked in because of emotional holding that I was having, as a reaction to the things happening in my life, my reaction to the things happening in my life. And so I found that if I could just like really clutch my arm right here where it was radiating, that it would send that pain back up into my neck. And so, but it wouldn't just like get rid of it. And I wasn't able to really work it as much as I needed to. Plus I was feeling so much exhaustion at the time. Like I really let myself get hit by all of this emotional stuff that, I was reacting to, or the emotional reactions to all the things that I was having. So I kind of wanted to like clutch my arm all the time because it was the only thing that was giving me relief. But it looked kind of weird to walk around like this all the time, and it was more like this too because it was still painful. And so I was able to arrange things over a Christmas break, and I was able to go to this meditation retreat and check myself in, So I go to the 10 days of silence and meditation. I'm in so much pain. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to meditate, and you're in silence the entire time in these retreats. You're asked to act as though you are a nun or a monk alone, even though there may be 100 people, 200 people there with you. And so you're staying in your own space, and you have this agreement with everyone else that you're going to let them have their experience. You're going to let them process their emotions. And so you resist the urge to comfort someone else if you hear or see them crying. You resist the urge to like let them know that, I'm still here and you're still here, even though we're pretending we're not, all those types of things. And so I'm like, okay, and I stayed in my space and did that. And I was in a room with about 12 other women over this Christmas break. And so the only time we'd really hear each other talk was like at night when we were dreaming, and we'd all be asleep, and then you'd hear someone yell some very funny things sometimes. I would repeat them, but I guess I think I'm going to not this time, So, but yeah, some people had some very funny dreams. We couldn't ask each other about it till the very end. And one night I was feeling so much pain, emotionally, physically, just spiritually, in every way, so much pain. And I just needed to move somewhere. And so I decided to get up and leave my bunk bed and go into the women's shower area. And I went into the women's shower area and I sat down in a stall, and I just was kind of silently crying, but I felt so much pain, and I felt so much pain that I thought that I felt so real. I was so much in a state of hypnosis too, from doing all this meditation. And I really felt like I was going to explode and that I was going to just be like plasma on the wall. I remembered somewhere in my childhood reading about something about this, and it was pretty sure that this was going to happen to me at this moment because it felt like so much pain. And this woman came in, and she was somewhere in the shower area, and she started crying. And at first, my first reaction was, of course, to go and help her and go comfort her. But I remembered that I'd promised myself and others that we were going to just allow ourselves to have our own experience. And so I stayed there, and I got to watch as my mind turned from compassion to all of a sudden just pain and anger. And that feeling, if I were to say anything in that moment, it would have been something like, shut the f up, and not nice at all. But it was just so much to watch my mind turn that quickly, this was in me, but more than that, I was in pain, and it really did feel like I was going to explode and truly explode, become plasma, and just cease to exist. And so I felt that feeling, and it like built and built and built, and it was like so big, and it was about to just like explode, it felt like. And then all of a sudden, at the top of it, I was left with nothing. Totally, like I was fine. I was totally fine. I was sitting there completely anticlimactic. Nothing happened. No pop, no explosion, no anything. At the end of all that pain was just like me sitting there. Nothing happened. I was fine. And it took me a moment, and I kind of like, oh, well, I guess I'll go back to bed, like there's nothing at the end of all this drama. And it was such a beautiful realization. And also all my pain was gone. All that pain that was in my neck, all the pain that was down my arm, all those things that I was feeling, it was completely gone. So it was a very powerful experience, and it was directly tied to the meditation. Before I had that experience, I had a couple other things that happened that were little clues about the way that our mind works. And my mind, your mind. I was sitting at lunch, and I was looking out at this tree that I thought was so beautiful. It was intertwined, these two trees, like they connected like that. And I thought, they're so in love. They're so beautiful. Wow, that's amazing. And then I sat there and I looked, and I'm like, wait, actually, they're strangling each other, And I watched my mind argue every single angle of this. And it was such a beautiful experience to start to notice that my mind, your mind, all of our minds argue every single angle. And what we focus on, what we choose to start focusing on, becomes the dominant thing that our mind gets really good at, right? But all of our minds are very good at, in a way you could say they're like torturing us, right? But also in a way, they're good at arguing every single angle. And then we think this is our thought, We think that like this is a point, that this is something that's come to us, when really everything is coming to us. And from this amalgamation, from this blending of all these things together, we kind of choose the one that we want to focus on, and we get really good at it, It's an efficient process. So I love meditation because of many reasons, but also because it helps us to take those things that we've wired together, that we've got really good at, the things, especially the things that we have gotten really good at that are more on the negative side, right? That are hurting us, that are our defaults, that we go to. And it allows us to start peeling those apart so that we have freedom from them, so that we're no longer being tortured by them. And the more that we get good at that, the more we can also start seeing all of this objectively and start freeing ourselves of having to be stuck with any of that wiring at all. We can wire ourselves the way we want to, so that becomes easier, but we also then can be aware that all of it is just wiring, and that we have a choice to choose from any of it, And so it helps you see the nature of reality and the nature of this ultimate choice that we have. So many cultures speak about this, whether you're talking about Native American cultures that talk about the story of the two wolves, and the one that you feed is the one that ends up being the strongest one, right? So many cultures have different ways of saying this, but all of those insights have come from a process of looking inside. Okay? So one of the things that I love about all massage, but Thai massage, especially because it has this spiritual foundation, and because it has this acceptance of that we're working with energy, we're working with the Sen, and we're moving that energy. One of the things I love is that we can actively view this as a meditation. And we can actively view it as a meditation for our client and also for ourselves, as we are showing that person part by part, piece by piece, each section of their body, and also each emotional reaction that happened to create what's going on in each part of the body, right? And they can sit with it, they can feel it, they can process that, and they can begin to pull some of that neural wiring apart so that they have freedom back. And that feels so good when you just can clean yourself of all of that conditioning and all of that thinking and believing that's in our bodies and in our structures, creating so much tightness in many cases, and just have your renewed self back, So, so if you guys look at your papers here, I have a little handout. So Vipassana meditation as a model for the flow of a Thai massage. Okay. So when we practice Vipassana, you can practice it in different ways. So you don't necessarily have to follow this exact structure, but this is a structure that I have here that's commonly followed. And the first step would be Anapana breathing. And this is just a focus. So it's just breathing through your nose. Remember yesterday when we, I think, did I have you guys, I may have just done this in the optimal health class. I'm not sure if I did it with you, but it's very common to very gently close your lips and to have your tongue pressed just behind your teeth and to focus on the breath of your nostrils, right? So we start with that in Vipassana. So if you guys want to right now, you can close your eyes. You can gently close your mouth. Your tongue will press up behind your teeth. And begin to just breathe and follow your breath. Just in and out of your nostrils. And in Anapana breathing, we just focus on what we're feeling. So we get this focal point of just what are we feeling as we breathe in and out. So we get very specific to what do we notice in the small space between our upper lip and our nostrils. Can you feel the coolness or warmth in the breath? Do you feel any sensation on your skin there? Just focusing yourself. Bring your mind's attention just to that small space. So this is true with most styles of meditation, that as you are following some sort of focus activity, if your mind starts to wander, if you fall asleep, if you go anywhere other than having a focus on the activity that we're doing, just inhaling and exhaling, feeling the sensation of the breath. So if you go anywhere other than that, then you would just gently bring yourself back to the activity, the focus activity that we're doing. And just continue to breathe. Every time your mind wanders, you just come back. So this Anapana breathing, this is a lot like what we do in the beginning of our Thai massage when we center ourselves. So when we warm our hearts, warm our hands, go inward, and begin to just be very centered and focused so that we're in a meditative state when we begin to work on the person that we're giving care to. And then in Vipassana, you can open your eyes if you want to, or you can keep them closed as I talk. It's up to you, whatever feels better. So in Vipassana, there's a step that is often used, and it's inner body scanning and outer body scanning. And it is basically just taking your mind. The instructions are usually very vague, and your mind does what it needs to, and you typically have the time to figure it out because many of these Vipassana meditation retreats are 3 to 10 days long in the beginning. And so So you get time to figure it out, just settle into it. But you begin scanning your body part by part, piece by piece, and you observe sensation. And the facilitator might take you through observing just sensation as you scan your body in general, or they may tell you to do an outer scan and then at some point an inner scan. So it can be broken up differently. But you're feeling sensation, and then the instructions will be to any place where you feel a sensation other than like the lightness of being alive. Say you feel some stuckness in your throat, then you would just pause there and you would observe without revulsion, without any craving. So without trying to get something to stop, and then also without wishing for anything to be like an amazing, beautiful experience or any like pleasant sensations, but you just sit with it and just put your awareness on it and observe. And then you continue on. And you scan part by part, piece by piece, just pausing when you feel something other than that lightness of being alive, and then continuing to scan throughout your body, part by part, piece by piece. This is a lot like what we do when we do our general Thai massage. So basically, most of what you guys are learning right now is that scanning. So you're doing palm pressing, palm press walking, some of those basic stretches. They are all part of an assessment, and that's very healing. Just the pausing and going inward is also very healing, So then after that, we have another step that can be done in Vipassana, and that is piercing. So that is like a piercing or massaging that you can do with your mind. And so the first time that I received those instructions, I had been in meditation for about 5 days. So I was pretty hypnotized. I was pretty much in a trance state at that point. So this seemed very real to me. And, it is very real. What we imagine is very real to our minds and to our bodies, and has very real effects in our minds and in our bodies. And so you would picture whatever you picture for your mind, but I pictured like medieval torture chamber doors that were going to just like spikes were going to close. So it because I was in this state, it took almost like some bravery for me to be like, let's do it, let's go. And so I like for a little while saw it like hovering above me, these spikes, and I'm like, yes, I want this pain gone. Let's go, So so just like you're just massaging and going through part by part. This is where you really work at it. And this is where when I was doing that first meditation retreat, because I'm a massage therapist, because I knew these spots too, I was just like, but I think anyone could go to that place and like feel their body and be present with it. So I was like in this area, like going from every angle with my mind, really getting in there, breaking it up, all of that. And so you're doing that through your whole body, part by part, piece by piece, breaking up all this stuff in your body and just sitting with it. This is what we're doing in Thai massage when we start doing that really focused, intuitive work. So when you start really getting in there and you are in that trance state and you are just like working with their body and you're matching your body to their body. Have any of you done that just in massage in general and any of the other styles where you just, exactly where to go and you're able to get in there and work with them, and you're even like controlling their body into different types of postures, but it is just you're in sync with each other and you know exactly what to do, and they know that too. Like they have a high level of trust and you're both in there. It's deeply healing work. So that is much like that piercing that you can do when you're a little further into Vipassana. And then the next thing we have in Vipassana that is also done in the style of meditation is energy sweeping. So it's a feeling of energy all at once going through your body, right? We do that in Thai massage when we work the send lines. When we're walking the send lines, we're showing the body where the energy lines are, And then another great thing to pair with it are the Ben Lom techniques. So those arterial compressions where you're compressing at these key places on the body, and then you are releasing that energy through these channels, right? And then we also do this when we are doing at the end, you guys haven't learned it yet, but we do some sweeping of the body, just moving this energy very quickly through the body after we have been working with them for some time. And we've gotten everything moving. Now we're just going to do some sweeping. So we have that as well. And then the final thing that we have is Metta, sending loving kindness. And we are doing this throughout the entire massage, but we're also really doing this at the end. You could say that you also do some of this at the beginning as well, where you are extending with our mantras as well, extending love to ourselves and all of the wishes for all the things that people, everyone has these same desires, right? To be safe, to have love, to experience compassion, to be understood, to have safety, So you extend those to yourself, you extend those to your client, and you broadly extend that to all beings, This is also a beautiful thing with Metta. It can be done as a component in its own right in a loving kindness meditation. It's very, very powerful meditation, very healing meditation. And this can also be done when you're sending Metta, sending love to someone who you've had some difficulty with, right? Because when you sit with that and you maybe inside you are struggling with not having compassion, but having emotions of like vengeance or even some vindictiveness or things like that. But when you sit with Metta, you're able to start seeing that what you really want is not for them to be harmed, but you really want that behavior to stop. And it would be beautiful to have that pain stop for everyone, And so you're able to really have an experience with that. So it's very powerful. And I think when you are doing Thai massage, that looking at the meditation that we're going to learn, as well as the Thai massage that we're going to learn, and understanding how intrinsically all these principles are tied together within Thai culture and Thai medicine, it's helpful to utilize all of it to be able to give a more effective, more compassionate, and an all-around, just more loving and present massage.